So the exhibition, in fact, is part of the Abandon Normal Devices Festival, which is our festival of new cinema and digital culture. And the theme this year of the festival is very much arched around the idea of belief and deconstructing those ideas. So in juxtaposition to the work in Gallery 1, Gallery 2 looks very much at artists who are using surveillance systems in an attempt to kind of subvert or disarm the dominant regimes in the countries where they live in. The work in Gallery 2 by the artist Ahmed Basiony is particularly important for a number of different reasons, mainly because, first of all, it's the first time that an Egyptian artist has ever exhibited in the FACT galleries, but also because it's very much about trying to show media art practices from outside the conventional sort of North American, European axis that we usually use when we're showing exhibitions of media art here. The work is constructed of two different pieces of material. The first was a performance from 2010 by the artist called 30 Days Running in the Place. And what that was, it was Ahmed was doing a performance outside the Cairo Opera House where he wore a hermetically sealed suit in the style of a sort of space suit. But when he wore it, he had two different sensors attached to his body, which kind of collated information about his physiological movement and changes within his body. He ran in the same place for an hour every day for 30 days, and the material that was collated by the sensors was projected onto a wall. So what the first video in the gallery shows is a documentation of the artist creating this performance and kind of getting a sense of spatially how people are orientating themselves in relation to that performance. The second part is documentation from the artist when he was in Tahrir Square before his death on the 28th of January 2011. The way the piece came about was that the artist's friend, an artist called Shadi al-Nushaati, who's a well-known artist in his own right, after the artist's death, he logs into Ahmed's computer and he found that there was two performances on his desktop. One that said the performance 2010 and the latter said the performance 2011 Tahrir. So what Shadi came to understand was that Ahmed was trying to reinvigorate the old performance that he'd created in 2010, creating a new version that was responsive to what was going on in Tahrir Square. And indeed, there is documentation footage within the gallery that illustrates that Ahmed was actually creating a version responsive to Tahrir Square. So the way the works are positioned within the gallery is this documentation of the Tahrir Square, Ahmed creating this new performance alongside the old performance. The videos are positioned kind of diagonally from each other so that the viewer is always never able to take in both videos at the same time. So the way you stand is you watch one video and the other video, the oral landscape of the other video is constantly in the periphery of you while you're watching the other. And the idea about this is that what we're trying to suggest, and what the curator is trying to suggest, is that the two performances exist in parallel to each other, but they aren't actually the same performance because they are kind of pieces that are constructed fragments of what could have been.